Welcome to our Friday reflection. I've been thinking a lot this week about welcome and what it means to feel welcome in a place, and also how welcoming am I. And as I think on that, reflecting on a week that has perhaps been one of the most difficult weeks that Liverpool has experienced in recent times, the explosion at the Liverpool Women's Hospital on Remembrance Sunday has created many mixed emotions that will take time to be worked through, especially for those people who have been directly affected. As the identity and background of the bomber, an asylum seeker who had sought and found refuge in the church and in his Christian faith here in Liverpool, those questions about welcome and our response to those who seek a welcome in our city are reshaped in the light of the actions of that person. But what should our response be as individuals, and what should our collective response be as a city? Reported by Liam Thorpe in The Echo this week, the MP for Walton, Dan Carden, made this statement: Liverpool is a welcoming city, a city of sanctuary. Our diverse communities will continue to stand together during this difficult time, and we will not let those who seek to divide us win. He made those remarks as a response to the Home Secretary, who had said the case in Liverpool was a complete reflection of how dysfunctional, how broken the system of asylum has been in the past, and why I want to bring changes forward. The Home Secretary suggesting that those who sought asylum, these people have come to our country and abused British values, abused the values of the fabric of our country and our society. Polarised views, but I'm thankful that the local responses to Sunday from those who lead the city have been those that echo the words of Dan Carden. The true motivation of the bomber may never be completely understood, but we must be thankful for the diligent work of Merseyside Police and the security services in investigating his actions, which will make clearer his intentions and his rationale. Helping to understand why will also help us to hopefully reduce the likelihood of further similar acts. But in understanding, we may have to face the truth that perhaps we are not as welcoming and as open as we think. Perhaps the pressures of living under the asylum system in the UK, living as a stateless citizen, places undue strain on people's lives. Those of us fortunate to have been born in the Western democratic nations will find it hard to understand the political and economic forces that cause people to flee their homes and to travel thousands of miles at the mercy of people smugglers and criminal gangs, facing untold risks to achieve sanctuary. It is hard for us to appreciate the life of an asylum seeker. Perhaps a greater understanding will bring a greater appreciation. Sadly, we have become immune to the daily news pictures of migrants massed on the borders of Poland and Belarus, Mexico and the US, or making the perilous journey across the English Channel. Perhaps the regularity with which we see those images dulls our senses to the pain. Sunday's bombing in Liverpool brings into our consciousness and into our daily routine the issue of asylum and migration. Seeing the police tape and news vans on my daily commute along Gullet Road and Upper Parliament Street this week has made me question my own response to welcome. In a little over a week, the Church's year brings us to the beginning of the Advent season, as the Church enters the season of preparation to celebrate the coming of Christ in his incarnation, his birth. The fundamental Advent prayer, Maranatha, our Lord come, will be heard as Christians wait in anticipation of both his birth, celebrated at Christmas, but also his return at the end of time. And we will hear again the story of Mary and Joseph, and of a baby placed in a manger because there was no place for them in the inn. A young couple then forced to flee because of persecution. A baby born in humble surroundings to an unmarried mother. A baby who grew into a young man who ultimately would be the victim of political persecution and religious bigotry. I wonder, would my response have been any different to that of the crowd? Would I have been prepared to welcome him? This period of Advent, as we prepare for Christmas, gives each of us an opportunity to prepare ourselves to welcome the Christ child. And in doing that, may each of us be prepared to again think of how we welcome others into our nation and into our city and into our lives.